Big fluff.
It would be nice to be rich. What should you do, Heathcliff?
What?
If you were rich?
Suppose I'd do what all rich men do. I'd live in a big house and be cruel to my servants. Take a wife.
A wife? What wife?
Aye. I've always looked fondly on Rose from the Crown.
The landlord's daughter. She's quite the plainest girl I ever laid eyes on, and dull too. Shockingly dull. She's practically a simpleton. I cannot sit here all day talking nonsense with you. After all, the Lintons may call on me at any moment.
Hey everybody, I am Heathcliff.
And I am also Heathcliff.
And we are all Heathcliff here at Silver Linings Playback, the podcast where we watch maligned movies and we find their silver linings.
And we watch their silver linings.
We do that too. We watch them and then that's how we find them and then we talk about them.
Yeah. And we are doing maybe one of the fastest turnarounds from theatrical release to air on the podcast. But we're doing the Wuthering Heights. There's no just Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights.
These heights, they be wuthering. And
I want people to hear the air quotes. Wuthering Heights. That's important.
Yes, because the heights are indeed wuthering. And we have a very special guest here to discuss these heights that indeed be wuthering. Friend of the show, Molly Regan. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. I was worried that I was quite the plainest girl you've ever seen.
Well, I'm practically a simpleton, so.
I was honestly just waiting to see if you were going to introduce her as Heathcliff. That's what I.
No, Molly bears significantly more respect than that, so.
Well, thank you.
Well, we don't, and that's important.
No, then referring to her as fake bearded Jake Elordi.
Yeah, well, and also
that beard looks fake as shit. I don't care if it's real; it doesn't look real.
Oh, we're just going into it.
Okay,
we'll go into right
it.
in.
Yeah. Okay. Look, if we're starting there, let's start there, and let's start hot. Was he going for Geico Caveman? That's what I want to know.
If so. Mission accomplished. Early silver lining.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I have been cracking Molly up because I've been working on my Jacob Elordi in this movie impression, which is basically just this. Cathe.
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 And you just kind of have a vacant stare.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cathe.
Well, you got to furrow your brow a little bit. You got to be confused.
Cathe.
Cathe.
No,
Cathe.
And I mean this in two senses of the word. He looks dumb in the first half of the movie. Like both his just actual appearance and then he just doesn't look smart. Weirdly, a gold tooth and like his fuckboy haircut really do make him seem smarter.
His fuckboy hoop earring and ponytail and ivory pipe. Which are the most fuckboy attire for 1771.
There was one shot where he kind of seemed like he was fuckboy Gandalf. He was like puffing on that pipe. And just like they kind of gave him the Gandalf shot. You know?
Do not give anyone the idea to make young Gandalf.
Oh, come
Andy.
on. From the makers of Young Sheldon comes young Gandalf.
Don't you want a
starring
hot young
Leo
Gandalf?
Armitage and Jacob Elordi. Jacob Elordi plays Radagast, the one with shit on his face, and you learn how he got shit on his face. Also,
he's Gandalf the Green because he's just starting out.
He's so young. He's green.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and he's brat.
Yeah. Oh, very brat.
Like this movie.
Brattest. This movie is super brat.
Yeah, I do want to say, and I think we do need to probably set this up, but this is the most brat version of Wuthering Heights that has ever existed. Just canonically.
Yeah, way more brat than that Laurence Olivier nonsense.
But like, I want to be clear, Laurence Olivier, a little brat. But this is more brat. Yeah.
Yeah, the Laurence Olivier version did not have a bunch of Charlie XCX songs as the soundtrack.
But it should have.
Yeah, I think that's
I don't
an
know why
early
it
knock
didn't.
on it.
I can't think of a single reason why
No.
there weren't several Charlie XCX songs in the 1939 Wuthering Heights.
Yeah, it's a real missed opportunity.
Well, I do know that like some of the editing was taken away from the director. So it's very like the end of that movie wasn't the director's choice. That was imposed on him. So it's very possible that the original cut did have Charlie
Boom,
XCX.
clap, the sound of my heart. The beat goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah, would have been great.
But yeah, Jacob Elordi, he looks dumb in the first half of this movie.
He does. Like if he had just quoted Forrest Gump and said, "I am a simple man, but I know what love is," it wouldn't have seemed out of place as dialogue.
I may not be a smart man, but I do know love is. Love is wuthering up in these heights. I bought the heights. Bought 'em.
Honestly, if he had said that when he like heaves her up into a tree, I would have loved this movie.
She
Also,
taught me
I
how
mean,
to dangle.
I think that it supports the idea that he's kind of dumb because there's a scene, I'm sure we'll discuss it more, but there's a pretty already infamous scene in the movie where he covers her eyes and he covers her mouth in order to avoid her from seeing it, but does not think about her ears. Like, so he's not really like, she's still...
He's only got 2 hands, Joel.
But he's a giant. I think he could have gotten like an ear and the eyes with one hand.
Jacob Elordi,
and the mouth.
notably 7'4".
He is. He was a starting point guard for the Pistons before he got into acting.
Yeah, he played on the Croatian national team, even though he's from Australia.
Didn't they find him like lifting up cars? Wasn't that his origin story?
Yeah, he was in the
Yes.
French Alps.
Yeah.
And he was discovered, and then for a while he was selling used cars, and he lifted them up to show
Yeah.
people the undercarriage.
He was just
eating
asking
toothpaste
people-
sandwiches.
He was just asking people if they wanted peanuts.
Exactly. That was his catchphrase.
a peanut?
Coffee.
God.
You want a
Coffee.
peanut?
Anybody? Coffee. Oh, Jacob Elordi.
Coffee.
Oh, Lordy.
We are the Brute Squad.
That's wonderful.
Okay, so I think it's
Fazzini.
so look, I think it's, I don't know how much we need to set up Wuthering Heights. I don't know how familiar people are with it, but it's obviously...
Well, let's explain it for Emerald Fennell.
Okay. For anyone who hasn't read it, including Emerald Fennell.
So for all
Yes.
the people that didn't read it in 11th grade English,
Yeah, exactly. Which I didn't read it in 11th grade English, to be clear. I've never read this book. We avoided it.
so I read this book in college. I took a class called the Gothic Novel. And it was a delightful class. But man, writing the papers for that class, which was essentially comparative literature, was impossible because there are 4 girl names in all of the Gothic novels combined. It's Catherine,
And there's-
Isabella, Mary, and Jane. That's
I was going
it.
to say, there's 3 names in Wuthering Heights, which I read this past week. And it is like that book, after the halfway point, becomes impossible to track.
Well, because there's Catherine and her daughter, Catherine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. And there was a point because I tried to read it last year. And like, I'm sorry, the frame story, the first 3 to 4 chapters of that book are really annoying to get through.
Don't care about
Like-
Nellie. We'll never care about Nellie.
Mr. Lockwood, that is, I mean, not to necessarily jump to silver linings, but great choice to get rid of Mr. Lockwood. No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
But, like, there was a point when I was trying to read it last year where I stopped and I was like, hang on, is his name Heathcliff? And it is, kind of.
His name is Heathcliff, Solamente Heathcliff.
But they refer to him at some point about like his Christian name and his surname Heathcliff, and they like sort of switch back and forth. But I like had this where it's just like I can't like I'll come back to it, but I can't do it right now. Like this is impossible.
Well, that and Catherine Earnshaw, Elder Cathay, marries Mr. Linton, And then his sister Isabella marries Heathcliff and has a child named Linton Heathcliff.
Named Linton.
There's a reason that none of the movies talk about the second generation ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Well,
it's nonsense.
I mean, you guys are being mean, but they only had 4 names invented at the time. Like, you know,
in England, that's true.
We take it for granted, but all these new crazy names that we have, they didn't have them back then.
Yeah, why can't this book have a Braden in it, you know? Or
There's not a single
Sophia.
sky to be found.
Yeah. No boy and girl Taylor.
No, it's a real shame. But yeah, I mean, well, you kind of touched. So maybe now that we've, I think, properly roasted Jacob Elordi's characterization, and I guess but
we're not done.
No, I think. Oh, I mean, we'll do it more, but I just like to start. You know,
Sure.
But yeah, so we alluded to the quotes around it. You just mentioned that there's only half of the book that ever gets adapted. I think we need to talk about just this adaptation, the approach, just to start, because Emerald Fennell did a lot of press sort of saying like she read it as a teenager. This is her idealized teenage version of it. Warner Brothers marketed this as the actual tagline was the greatest romance of all time, which makes it pretty clear you haven't read the second half or aren't familiar with like
or the first
half.
Yeah, like just aren't familiar with the themes and point of the book.
It's the same people that say Romeo and Juliet is an all-time great love story. No.
No.
So I have thoughts on this.
What? No way.
Yeah, right. Which
you're
is
the plainest girl in this town.
I'm just ever so plain. I can see if you're a 14-year-old girl reading Wuthering Heights and really latching on to a couple of things in the book, specifically the scene, which is weirdly cut down for Emerald Fennell's like proclamations about how she's writing the story for the like feral teenager inside of her. I'm like, okay, what were you like as a teenager? Because this is not horny teenage girl material. This is a weirdly neutered version of what you think a horny teenage girl is like. But I could see.
I think it's exactly what they're like in England, though.
Okay, you know what?
This is
point taken.
It is legally as horny as you are allowed to be in England.
It's true.
Fair.
Yeah.
But the scene where after she accepts Edgar's proposal, she's like really conflicted and gives this whole speech about how like whatever souls are made of, her like Catherine and Heathcliff's are the same. And his like sorrows and miseries are her sorrows and miseries. Like, if you're a teenager, my God, that shit is like the most intense thing you've ever read. Like, totally get that. And
Me
then
and Tayson are the same.
Yeah, no, it's very
I am Tayson.
Yeah.
Tayson is me.
Like, I can totally see like a 14-year-old being like, oh my God, that's the greatest love of all time. And then when like Catherine dies, Heathcliff, like before she dies, they have like this big, you know, like proclamation of their undying love for each other. And then he like begs for her ghost to haunt him. And it's like, again, totally as a teenager, you're like, that's what love is. Like, you could never be apart, even in death. Sure.
Now let me play my Chemical Romance records.
Yeah. Like, teenagers are insane. And I say that complimentarily, like, they should be entitled to be weird and cringy and all of that. Awesome. But as an adult, interpreting that, like, you can play with that, but also like reflect a bit on what that means.
That's fair. Yeah. No, as someone who works with teenagers regularly,
Yes.
they're ridiculous individuals. And you know, they're like almost people, but they're not quite. They're getting there. You hope a few of them finish their 4 years of high school almost as people. But no, they're ridiculous. They experience everything at the most or least extreme. And that does mesh very well with one Emily Bronte's work.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so I think it's like when you read something at a really formative age, you can't help the way it settled in your brain. But I think it's important to, consider the fact that like Emerald Fennell also has an English degree from Oxford. So it's like, well, I do kind of expect you to even if this is the take you want to give, which is completely within your right, you should be able to put like an interesting spin on it. And if your spin is, well, this is the feral teenager within me, okay, but actually do that then.
Go all in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think maybe the worst at adapting material for the screen is one Baz Luhrmann, but this movie could have used a little Baz Luhrmann over the topness in some aspects.
Baz Luhrmann did a similar thing because I think some of the themes and such in this are similar to The Great Gatsby, which Baz Luhrmann famously didn't understand. So, I mean, also completely missed it and was like, what if it was just a jazz party all the time? The pretty shirt scene is not an indictment of capitalist excess. It's just pretty shirts. Yeah. The Great Gatsby, the greatest love story of all time, by the way. Just want to be clear.
Daisy's a good person.
Daisy's a good person. Gatsby's love is healthy. It's good that he's throwing these parties. They seem really fun to go to. He definitely didn't make his money war profiteering.
Nick Carraway's cool straight.
By the way, I was thinking too, like when you were talking about how Emerald Fennell went to Oxford, right? That's right. Yeah, that like I would love it. I'm just imagining her with the movie coming out, just calling up Oxford and being like, "You guys want me to come give a talk about Wuthering Heights to the students? I could come, you just kind of tie it into the movie. I could, kind of like lead a discussion with them."
Oh, I'm sorry, we're busy.
It doesn't have a lot of open dates.
I was like, no, it's just we're quite booked. I'm sorry, but yes. What did you say your name was, Miss Ruby? What was that? Ruby Carraway, was that your name?
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, Emerald Fennell. I like you, but Ruby Carraway is now my favorite name for you.
Amazing.
I mean, Ruby Carraway is a good bit for like if you wanted to create a parody of Emerald Fennell and something like that should be used. Absolutely.
Yeah. So hands off or pay me.
Yeah. So she doesn't understand the themes of the book. It's about like unhealthy obsession and like everyone is toxic and like none of the relationships are good in this are healthy. Yeah. It's generational trauma is really what
everybody in this movie
about.
Is a monster.
Yeah,
like
and
that's
it's
the
like
point.
Right, and it's like at times she seems a little aware of that, but then she really seems to want to redeem them.
Well, that's kind of the general issue I have with her as a screenwriter in general, is that she does have a seemingly like an interest in, like, if you can trace sort of like a thesis in her work, it is this idea that sort of like obsession is corrosive. But
Hot
then
take.
she kind of yeah, right? You did it. But then she abandons it and just betrays that idea in all of her movies and basically kind of like wants you to get involved in this idea and then we'll go like, oh, but actually that person who was, you know, like degraded by their like obsession, they're actually the hero and it's liberating. They're freed now. And it's like, well, that sucks. That's bad storytelling.
Well, Emerald Fennell is also a wealthy person whose last movie was about a wealthy family and their problems, but then dared to ask the bold question, what if the poor guy was grifting him and he was the villain? What if the non-wealthy person was actually the problem?
Just like in real life.
Yeah, exactly. This is what happens when you let a pour into Saltburn. Like, seemed to be the point of Saltburn, as I understood it.
Yeah, that was my take on it. So
it did have
those
one of my
dirty
favorite
pores
scenes.
ruining things.
But it did have one of my favorite scenes in any movie, which is when Barry Keoghan is in a cafe watching Rosamund Pike, and then you get the reveal that when he was writing at his computer, he was just like randomly tapping the keyboard. I was just like, see, I'm a sociopath. I wasn't really writing anything. I was just smashing the keyboard. It's like, okay. Wow.
Yeah, like do a Sudoku or watch some porn or something, buddy. Like, what are you doing on that laptop?
This is sociopathic behavior.
Also, do you know how mad I would be if I was looking for a table in that cafe and I walked by Barry Keoghan and he's just typing nonsense?
I would stay in I would stay in that cafe for the next 4 hours.
Are you going to be done soon, sir? There's just no empty tables right now.
No, stay here forever.
Can you not emote
invested
somewhere
now.
else, please?
But yeah, so on that note, to go back to the Wuthering Heights in, I don't know, scare quotes? Like what? Why? There's a weird sort of disavowal of her own work happening here that I have a real issue with. Which is, one, you don't need the quotes. We get it. It's not Wuthering Heights, it's an adaptation. You're changing the medium. So like it's just kind of patronizing. Like
yeah, I mean, like I do also. Granted, I didn't go to Oxford. I went to Virginia Commonwealth University, not as prestigious. I will
the
admit.
Oxford of the Mid-Atlantic.
But thank you. It is the Oxford of the Mid-Atlantic, and I would like to know how Oxford did in the NCAA men's tournament. Have they ever finished in the Final Four? I don't think they have. As far as
Ain't
I
no
know.
Final Four for crew.
Yeah. So with all that being said, the one thing that, I think Molly is actually absolutely right about is the thing that we learned in my program is movies ain't books. So like we get it.
Yeah.
Movies and books are different. You're adapting something. That means like literally there's a famous Charlie Kaufman movie about adapting things and how they're different from I don't remember the name of it. But,
Synecdoche, New York.
Thank you. And so yeah, but I agree that it's like it feels like she's doing it to insulate herself from criticism, to be like, well, I'm saying it's different. And it's like, that doesn't mean you don't have to defend your choices. And I think people are still allowed to criticize why you did things the way you did.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe leads us to the next thing, because we've talked a bit about how like the themes are not really understood and it's trying to market something as a love story that is not a love story. But I think one of the biggest things leading up to this that was a huge controversy, obviously, was the casting of Heathcliff. The fact that it's pretty clear in the book that while you can debate exactly what Heathcliff's ethnicity is, it's not white. And Jacob Elordi, if there's one word I would use to describe Jacob Elordi, it's white.
Cathay.
But and I say that too because it's important to the book. Like, it's important to explaining the way that he's treated. It's important to explaining why he's not truly accepted by this family, by this society, why he has to go off and make his fortune. Even though someone's vouching for him and giving him a name, that he's not really part of the club, and that he has to buy his way into the club.
Yeah, it's like, it's interesting because I was curious when I started reading the book of like, well, how explicit is it? And it's very explicit almost immediately in the book, and not just once. Like, it's a continuing, like, it continues in the book. And there's actually a really pivotal, really beautiful scene in the book when Heathcliff is young, and it's after Kathy has stayed with the Lintons for a while after she injures her ankle, and Heathcliff decides that he wants to get himself cleaned up to interact with Kathy and Edgar, and he's really talking about, just feeling like he's lesser than, because Edgar is very fair-skinned. He has blonde hair. He's got blue eyes. And Nellie is basically, and him kind of being like, I'm dark, and he talks a lot. There's a lot of discussion about people calling him dirty, him feeling dirty. And him saying like, I don't know, kind of like, I don't know where I come from. And Nellie says basically like what's great or what's, beautiful about not knowing where you come from is you can imagine. And she's like, I like to imagine that your father was, I think she says, a Chinese emperor and your mother was an Indian queen. Like, that's what she says, to kind of be like, so that's, you can imagine you came from this great, lineage. But it's used as this explicit, like, you feel so much lesser than, and now Kathy is being paired with this guy who is the, like, ultimate, like, fair-skinned standard. And it just makes you feel so much lower. But I'm trying to, boost you up through this. Like, it is very explicit what he looks like compared to other people.
Yeah, that's the thing, is
in
like,
this world.
At a minimum, he is part of the out group. Like, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Like,
he is racialized.
It's not explicitly stated whether he's, Mediterranean of Latin American descent, that he's that any sort of mixed race or anything like that. But it is very clear that he is not white, nor is he white passing on any level. Yeah. And then it's interesting that, like, Edgar Linton, the epitome of lily whiteness in the book, is played by South Asian actor Shazad Latif. Is like,
which is such bizarre, meaningless casting, and just kind of goes like, what are we doing here? Like, why?
And I also want to come to Mr. Latif's defense, is that he is not made to look attractive in this movie whatsoever. But in every other picture I've seen of this
very
man,
attractive.
He is gorgeous. He is a good-looking dude.
He really is. I saw a press junket for this movie, and he's got a beard and long hair pulled back. And on my mind, I'm just going like, why the fuck wasn't he Heathcliff? Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, that probably would have made more sense. Not to say that Jacob Elordi necessarily should have been Linton, but
no.
Still, like, no, it was weird.
Yeah. No, it's weird, but it does feel like, okay, well, I'm changing this because I want to cast Jacob Elordi. So here, I did it. I fixed it by also casting Linton this way. Like, and it's like, that's not, I don't think either of these are doing anything.
See, because say what you will about Baz Luhrmann, and I hate Baz Luhrmann, but he is good at casting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll say that
Look,
full stop.
again, yeah, as much as I don't like that interpretation of Gatsby, like DiCaprio is the right person. Like, absolutely.
And Carey Mulligan was great, and Tobey Maguire was great, and Joel Edgerton. Like, it was a great cast in a dumb movie.
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, just to go further into this, I want to bring up the skin room, which, let me just say, if someone...
God, if I had a nickel for every time Molly said to me, I want to bring up the skin room.
Yeah, usually this is a very fun conversation. If you tell me a movie has a skin room, I'm going to be excited. So I'm sorry. This
and as far as I know,
feel...
it's just this and Hellraiser.
Yeah.
I think are the only two movies that have a skin room.
Yeah, this doesn't feel good for me. But like, it just comes off as an even weirder way. Like, I mean, it's a weird choice to begin with, but a choice, again, I could get on board with. Except that it's so unbelievably shallow to, again, cast a brown man to play Edgar and then have this creation of a skin room where he says, I wanted it to be the most beautiful color in the world, so I had them make it the color of your skin, Kathy. Which is like, feels like you're like tiptoeing into this idea of like, see, I'm doing it. I'm talking about race. But it's like, but no, you're really not. And I don't know why you're doing this, except to be like, aren't I provocative? I made a skin room. That's like, I guess.
No, you're just being a creep. That's all that is.
Yeah.
But like, also, to go back to the feral teenager in me, it's like, but not enough. You didn't do anything with it.
What feral teenager didn't wish they had a skin room they could go into?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, fucking go there then. Like, but why?
I think that does kind of segue into another thing too, which is obviously like the production design and costuming. And we mentioned Charlie XX, but sort of the overall aesthetic of this movie is another thing where Emerald Fennell just made a choice to be like, what if instead of being faithful to the book, I took things that weren't used by Tim Burton on previous films and were left in a storage closet somewhere? But like
I've always wanted a fireplace made of hands.
Exactly.
Who doesn't? But again, why?
Right. Which is,
look, I'm here for the skin room and the hand fireplace. Just, I want to know more about it.
Isolate that quote, please. But no, I remember actually. Yeah, I remember watching. I think it was Architectural Digest. They had Margot Robbie do a tour of the set, and it was all shot on a soundstage. I think everything in this movie was shot on a soundstage. I don't think anyone actually touched real grass in the filming of this movie. But like they showed all the rooms, and it was this like cool, like, here's the dollhouse that is an exact model of the house. Like, here's the skin room. Here's the fireplace with the hands. Like, here's all these different rooms. And I watched the thing and I was like, oh, this is really cool. These designs, like, clearly someone put a lot of thought into this. Like they had the person who made it, like, she was talking about everything and how much fun she had. And it's like, great. But then you watch the movie and you're like, one, you barely see any of this. And two, what does it mean in the movie? Like, it's just there.
Yeah. And just like, this is not the movie to talk about anachronisms, but like, they didn't have tiles like that in poor country manners the way they did it at Wuthering Heights. Like, that wasn't right at all.
Also, by the way, if I can take one more sideburn at Architectural Digest, they did a second video, and the second video was titled Tour of Heathcliff's House in Wuthering Heights. You mean Wuthering Heights?
You mean Wuthering Heights?
They called it Heathcliff's House.
Yes, famously from the book Heathcliff's House by Emily Brontë.
here's my thing with the anachronism issue. Just I don't mind that. Do your anachronistic retelling.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Do it. But if you're going to do that, I think you have to actually create the world, And I feel like what this movie does is instead just manipulate people and doing this sort of no, it's Wuthering Heights, but with Charlie XCX. And it's okay, but what? You haven't actually created a world.
No,
you wanted to do your thing, but all you really did was create brand partnerships. That's not actually an anachronistic retelling or transporting me to another place. It was kind of well, I mean, we added this because now you can buy it. And it's well, that just feels shitty.
It's that the only reason anything was in this movie was because that seems cool.
I mean, I felt I came across, it was an article that was just here's the blush that Margot Robbie wore in Wuthering Heights. And I'm okay, but first of all, her cheeks are blushed because she's on the windswept moors of Yorkshire, England. But also, I don't care. I don't want to buy the blush, and this just feels like the entire reason the movie was made. Oh, because it's everything. There is a lingerie collection I keep getting promoted that's here's the lingerie from Wuthering Heights, and I'm Jesus fucking Christ.
Which I do think that I'm not that you two are necessarily opposed, but I think Molly, what you're saying is even more so than Andy, what you're saying about I don't think everything was chosen because it was cool. I think things were chosen because there were brand partnerships and there was vertical integration, and there was this Architectural Digest is going to tour the set, and we're going to sell dresses. All the clothes are partnerships with clothing designers, and all the music is because Charlie XCX is going to release an album that's going to coincide, that's going to come out on, Warner Brothers Records at the same time that Warner Brothers releases the film. And I do think all of that was it was a, multimedia cross-platform brand partnership extravaganza. Everything was kind of a commercial. It's not even product placement. It's just the products are kind of the thing.
It's, a friend of mine said that this movie was best meant to be watched 30 seconds at a time on your phone.
Absolutely. That's how Emerald Fennell makes films. She makes films for the screen grab.
Well, right. And I've seen people describe it as that she should be making Pinterest boards instead of movies that what she's really good at it. Yeah. Are aesthetics and stills. And I mean, I don't think that we're quite ready to pivot yet, but to be clear, I think she's good at cinematography and good at visuals. It's often to no real end, but she can make stuff look good.
The movie looked good.
Yeah.
without putting that fully in a silver lining, it looked good. It was pretty.
Yeah. And for being shot on a soundstage, most of it, I didn't feel that way, except maybe when our dear friend Jacob Elordi was trying to recreate Gone with the Wind. That one
oh red, my God.
The one red background looked very fake. It did not look like a sky.
Also, speaking of the fakeness of it all, I need to talk about everyone's teeth. I'm just breaking down. I got to talk about the skin room. I got to talk about the teeth. If people want to be in period pieces, which I don't think this should be called a period piece, but it's a costume drama, then they need to stop getting insane chiclet veneers because it really takes me out of the movie. And even more so because Mr. Earnshaw, who very annoyingly was a streamlined character between Mr. Earnshaw and Hindley, who is Catherine's brother, who in the book is like the primary abuser of Heathcliff and is basically like the reason Heathcliff becomes the like cruel bastard that he is in the later half of his life. But you know, they just smushed him into one terrible character. But Hindley in the book is the like really severe alcoholic. Mr. Earnshaw is generally a kind man who, like, because he's the one who fucking, you know, like takes Heathcliff in off the streets. It's very weird that this version of Mr. Earnshaw in the movie would do that. But
they do kind of make it seem like it was like a drunken.
He said you take him, and then I was like, oh, I'll fucking take him. If you think I won't take this kid, I will raise this child.
Kid? You think I won't take a kid? I'll fucking take a kid.
Very weird.
I'll take more than one kid. Give me some more kids.
But like, so
I can take kids all day.
You know what? Again, I would have loved this movie if, like, every 10 minutes he shows up with another kid. You know what? This one's Heathcliff, too.
Or even if there was a scene later where
Papa, I already have a Heathcliff.
But also, if there was a scene later where Elordi was just like, I wasn't even actually the kid that he thought. That he called the
have
wrong
a
kid.
Family.
I just don't know how to get back to them.
This is remote. Wuthering Heights
But also,
is
they
quite
were
remote.
poor. So I'm going to ride this out.
At least he had money to gamble, so I assume that was coming from somewhere.
I mean, but yeah, so they smush him into this one character, and now Mr. Earnshaw is like a horribly abusive alcoholic. But they show his like deterioration as an alcoholic by showing his like absolutely grotesque teeth. But like, that ends up coming across as really weird when everyone else in this film, including Heathcliff, who despite his one missing tooth that he ends up replacing with a gold tooth, his teeth are also like beautiful white veneers. Like, it ends up feeling less like he's deteriorating and more like he's just not attending his cosmetic dentistry appointments. Like, it's a very weird thing to draw attention to.
He gambled away his veneer money.
Yeah. Also, I can't ignore the... I actually haven't decided if I truly hate this image or if I'm just in awe of how stupid it is. But the scene when Mr. Earnshaw dies and he's flanked by 2 mountains of gin bottles.
Oh, are we at Silver Linings? Are we doing Silver Linings now?
Have we pivoted? I didn't realize.
No, it is a cartoonish amount
They're
of
to
bottles.
the ceiling.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys didn't know that this man had a drinking problem.
He bought these yesterday.
To be fair, given the gin crisis in the late 1700s in England, that's about right. That's about the most historically accurate thing that they had in the movie.
Hang on, history teacher, tell me more about the gin crisis.
Oh, lot of gin in England in the in the pre-industrial revolution. This is a big old mess.
Ooh.
Well, look, I do want to point out we're like almost 45 minutes in. We haven't pivoted. We are rapidly running out of time. So I'm not saying we can't keep maligning this movie, but I think if we're going to keep maligning, we really got to figure out, like, we got like maybe 5 minutes max to like.
I don't know that there's much new ground to it's more retreading all the other ridiculous things. Depending on where people fall on Isabella's whole arc, I'm fine pivoting now or not.
Have we pivoted?
Oh, well, I simply have one thing I have to say about Isabella, and I did highlight this. I brought up it's a bit of text from the book because maybe this will be a good transition. So the way that Isabella and Heathcliff are portrayed in the movie, I'll simply say is not book accurate to a grotesque level. And I'll leave it at that. But in an interview, Emerald Fennell says that she found the reason to portray them in a BDSM relationship based on this quote, which is in the movie, where Heathcliff says, "But no brutality disgusted her. I suppose she has an innate admiration of it." If I may just read a little bit of contextualizing this, where this is after Nellie comes to see them and she's like, "No, Jesus Christ, things are not right here." And I'll just say, Isabella was not, in fact, chained like a dog to the fireplace.
What?
No, sorry. That was an invention for the movie. But what Heathcliff says is about her family, "She abandoned them under a delusion, picturing in me a hero of romance and expecting unlimited indulgences from my chivalrous devotion. I can hardly regard her in the light of a rational creature. So obstinately has she persisted in forming a fabulous notion of my character and acting on the false impressions she cherished. But at last, I think she begins to know me. I don't perceive the silly smiles and grimaces that provoked me at first, and the senseless incapability of discerning that I was in earnest when I gave her my opinion of her infatuation and herself. It was a marvelous effort of perspicacity to discover that I did not love her. I believed at one time no lessons could teach her that, and yet it is poorly learnt, for this morning she announced as a piece of appalling intelligence that I had actually succeeded in making her hate me. A positive labor of Hercules, I assure you. If it be achieved, I have cause to return thanks. Can I trust your assertion, Isabella? Are you sure you hate me? If I let you alone for half a day, won't you come sighing and wheedling to me again? I dare say she would rather I had seemed all tenderness before you. It wounds her vanity to have the truth exposed. But I don't care who knows that the passion was wholly on one side, and I never told her a lie about it. She cannot accuse me of showing one bit of deceitful softness. The first thing she saw me do on coming out of the Grange was to hang up her little dog, and when she pleaded for it, the first words I uttered were a wish that I had the hanging of every being belonging to her, except one. Possibly she took that exception for herself, but no brutality disgusted her. I suppose she has an innate admiration of it, if only her precious person were secure from injury. Yeah, there's a bit of context there. And then after that is her basically going like, I tried to leave him before, but couldn't get away. So I don't know what Emerald's going like, no, but I think what she said about it was, that's a bit transgressive, isn't it? It's like, I mean, go on.
So
Pivot?
let's pivot.
Oh, come on. Sorry to bring the room down about Wuthering Heights, the greatest love story of all time.
I will say, like, just to get us, like, I think on the page, because I think everything that you said, I do appreciate the context, and it's good to push back on that stuff. I think maybe as a way to get us in the frame of mind to finish this strong, because this is Silver Linings Playback, I do want to say that this is the version of Wuthering Heights that we deserve in 2026. Absolutely.
Yeah, no arguments here.
We should all be honest with ourselves about that. And so I think with that being said, let's end this strong. Let's pivot. Look, so everything Molly said is completely valid, but my top silver lining, and it's with a bullet, is Alison Oliver in this movie.
Yeah, she's great.
I want to make it very clear. I absolutely hate the way that relationship is interpreted. But Alison Oliver has committed no crimes.
Yeah, she deserves an Academy Award for her wink to Hong Chau when she has a dog collar on.
Yeah.
Like, her performance is phenomenal, and she's selling whatever it is that we're like putting out.
She is all in on this nonsense interpretation of Wuthering Heights. She's like, so we're just not doing the book? Okay, I cannot do book Isabella.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
so
not
what
do the shit out of book Isabella.
Okay, first act, I'm just weird, sheltered nerd. Got it. Second act, I'm a dog. Okay, why not?
Sure.
No, it's a phenomenal performance. Truly, like she's great. She's charming as hell. She was great in Saltburn. Yeah, I have nothing but great things to say about her and her performance. Also, since I mentioned her too, Hong Chau, I always enjoyed in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've shit on Jacob Elordi very deservingly so. When he's fuckboy smoking that pipe when he first comes back to whatever Grange, I forget the name of the other house.
Thrushcross Grange.
Thrusher, yeah, that's right. That's great. No notes.
I honestly, I liked his second half performance a lot better than his first half performance. Yeah, like I think him playing fuckboy is better. Yeah, because he did seem kind of dumb. It almost is a silver lining how much his look amused me, and like I honestly was trying not to laugh in the theater when he was sort of just like, Kathy at mansion, me go get, like me pick her up and carry her back, you know, like
fire bad.
Look, so he's a better Frankenstein in this movie, than he
plays a more cinematic accurate Frankenstein in this movie than he does in Frankenstein.
Absolutely, he does. But yeah, he's like, let's be fair. A lot of the people that went to see this because they want to see the tall man lift up the pretty lady.
Oh, the tall man putting the little lady in a tree. Excellent. A+.
Yeah.
Like, best part of the movie for me.
So, like, we can criticize him all we want, and we will, because he can take it, because he's a tall white man. He's
Jacob Elordi. He's fine.
Yeah, like...
Jacob Lordy.
Cut to Jacob Elordi with a single tear rolling down his face, listening. He's such a big fan of this podcast. And he's like, oh, they're doing Wuthering Heights. Let me listen.
It's like, those two middle-aged chuds don't like me. What will I do now?
Yeah, I guarantee we're too old for Jacob Elordi to be aware of our existence. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, Margot Robbie just snuck in there, you know, like in her 30s,
right.
Like anything older than that. And Jacob Elordi literally like can't see us or hear us.
No, we don't exist. We are vibrating on a different plane of existence from him. I will say, excuse me, casting younger versions of characters is notoriously hard, but I thought that Charlotte, I want to get her name correct. Charlotte Mellington was very believable to grow up into Margot Robbie.
It was very clear, like immediately, that you could see the resemblance. Yeah, and like,
I thought she did a really good performance. Job.
I thought so too. Like, yeah, and she kind of tapped into, and we haven't really talked about Margot Robbie, which is kind of funny. But I think both of them at their best, and I think there was some inconsistencies with Margot Robbie's Kathy, like not just on the page, like I'm not blaming her, but like I think at their best, they both really tapped into this like brattiness, you know, like no Charlie XCX intended, but just like the like Heathcliff is my pet of it all. And even that opening clip with Margot Robbie kind of hit that of just like, you know, they will come for me and I am so pretty and like everybody loves me, you know, like I'm America's I'm England's sweetheart, you know, whatever. Like just I think at her best too, Margot Robbie really tapped into that. You know, like the scenes with her and Jacob Elordi are hot. Let's just be real.
They're hot.
Oh, Emerald Fennell should have made just a straight up bodice ripper because like she's good at it. And I think that's what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. That would have been great.
If this was a 5-minute Charlie XCX video of the two of them banging, which is in the movie, if you were just to isolate that sequence,
I thought that's the clip you were going to pick.
I mean, if I could, I would have. I think it would have gotten us into a number of problems. But absolutely. I mean, that is the silver lining of like, I think of like why we all were in the theater, like to some extent, and how the movie was marketed was like, at some point, these two hot people are gonna bang to a Charlie XCX song. Yeah. And when it happened, it happened. Yeah.
So I mentioned this to Joel before we signed on, and Joel insisted that I bring it up here. I was the only man in the theater when I saw this movie.
Amazing.
I went by myself.
Fantastic.
My wife had no interest.
Love it. Love her.
And yeah, it was like we all shared a moment. Me and these other, late 20s, early 30s women that were at the theater.
Were you
me.
mobbed afterwards?
I do imagine Andy having to fight his way out of the theater of just like women that were just like, like you are the most Elordi person in my field of vision at this moment.
It's the Elordiest I've ever been and the Elordiest I'll ever be. But
the sad part is you did have to hoist a lot of them up out of the way. So it was very seamless to them.
6 of them in trees. Why there were so many trees at the Columbia Mall AMC, I can't tell you, but...
Look, just being real as a little lady married to a very tall man, like that shit's visceral. There have been times where Joel has just picked me up to move me somewhere, and it is just very much like, I'm a lady.
Usually into trees for whatever reason.
No, we left the theater, and I had said this before, where I've been like, I want to be with a tall man because I need him to heave me up into a tree to get me away from predators. And the first thing I said when we walked out of the movie is I was like, you know what? She did get it. That is exactly what I want.
And I also like, because you mentioned the theater too, like there were 2 women in front of us in the theater when we watched it that were like middle-aged women that were, I'd say, wine drunk when they walked into the theater. And it's like, if we're being real, we spent 50 minutes like talking about all the problems with this movie. The movie is not for us. The movie is for those 2 women. And I can tell you the silver lining is that it nailed that because they had the time of their lives. Yeah. Like they loved this movie and they are who is supposed to love this movie. Yeah. They're who the movie's marketed to. And so like, I think it is a success in that level. And I want to be sincere about it too, in that like, in a year where we care very much about movies, we talk about movies, we love movies. I love seeing movies in movie theaters. Whatever I personally think of this movie, if it's a movie that gets people to go see a movie in a theater in February and makes a bunch of money and gets a ton of buzz, I love it. Like I'm so happy that this movie is the success that it is, sincerely.
Yeah. No, and I like, for all of my criticism, and there is a lot.
Sure.
I do genuinely wonder, like, if I saw this movie, like if it came out when I was like 15, I'm sure this movie would be very important to me. Like that's
I'm going to say one
real.
or the other. Either it would have been very important to 15-year-old riot girl Molly, or you would have loathed every second of it even more than you might now.
Well, that's how I feel about everything. I'm not really neutral on anything.
Except milk hotels.
What? You know what? No, I'm calling you out. That's the second time he's made that joke in like the last week.
We briefly mentioned Hong Chau, and I do want to come back and talk about her a little bit. She had maybe my favorite line delivery in the entire movie when Margot Robbie's chastising her and trying to fire her essentially. And she says, I think you just love making me cry. And she responds, almost as much as you love crying. And it's like,
yeah,
bam.
No, and that
was perfect.
There are moments, as much as, I'm like, Emerald Fennell didn't, read the book.
There's some really good,
there are some really
scenes.
good moments that do tap into that. And one of the parts of the book, like, and I'm not, so I honestly, like, I think there are parts of the book that are really good, and overall I'm kind of like, like it didn't, I don't love it, but
it's the greatest book I've ever read.
I understand.
And you read 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, but this one
that wasn't as gray.
Yeah.
But I understand why it's been studied a lot. It's very complex, but that also kind of makes it a lot. But one of the things I did really love is that Kathy is kind of a batshit crazy bitch. Like, and when you really get into the weeds with Kathy, it gets really interesting. So that line from Nellie just very succinctly taps into that of just being like, okay, like you really,
it's like, you're going to do that?
You really love doing this. Yeah. I do wish, and I understand why they didn't do this, but like just having just rewatched like a lot of period pieces recently, I'm like, man, I would have loved more of Kathy just taking to her bed in a melodramatic fashion, because she really does. I said something to my mom recently where I was like, man, people in 19th century literature really do love like coming down with paroxysms. And Kathy certainly did.
By the way, we were rapidly running out of time, but Andy, because you mentioned how gray it is, I want to make sure to give a shout out to, I liked how misty it was, because I liked that like Heathcliff kept emerging from the mist like he was Batman. And it was a good bit where by the fourth time he's just behind her out of nowhere. I wanted 6 more of them, honestly. I'm Batman, Kathy. Kathy, we gotta go fight the Joker.
Also,
not the hero Gotham needs, but I'm the hero it deserves.
I can't end this show without shouting out, I think, my favorite choice in this movie, which is after Heathcliff catches Kathy on the moors, pleasuring herself. They cut to a scene of a snail crawling across a window just to be like, oh, by the way, if you guys didn't know, it's wet.
Gushy.
Cinema, baby.
Yeah.
Cinema. This movie is so slimy. Let's also give a shout out to Margot Robbie sticking her finger into a jelloed fish or whatever.
You know what?
That was.
More of that.
Yeah.
That's the feral, horny teenager that needed to be in this movie more. Because that shit is exactly what a creepy, horny teenager does.
Yeah, I think just maybe the note to end on is I wish this movie was dumber, honestly.
Yes!
I think it was I wish it was grosser and dumber. There were
snail trails and jellied fish.
Yeah, there were moments that I really enjoyed. Oh, sorry. I do one more silver lining. The opening's a good bit. The you think someone's having sex, but it's actually a man being hanged. Solid bait and switch.
An endowed man being
Master
hanged.
bait and switch.
Master bait and switch.
Be dumber and bolder and more ridiculous, because I think at its best that's what this movie was. But also it was an event. We all had a lot to talk about it, and look, the Charlie XCX soundtrack is a banger. I have actually listened to a couple of those songs.
They're good.
Soundtrack slaps. Soundtrack slaps. But Molly, before we go, is there anything you want to point people towards or tell people about?
Yes. If you are in the Los Angeles area on April 17th and 18th at the Billy Wilder Theater at the Hammer Museum, the UCLA AMIA student group will be doing a theater takeover where we will be screening archival treasures from the UCLA Film and Television Archive. We will be showing one of Penelope Spheris's student films. We will be screening one of Kaveh Zahedi's films and a few student films that are avant-garde animation. It's going to be a really cool event. And you can go to cinema.ucla.edu to find out more.
Awesome.
And if you're not in the LA area, fuck off.
Yeah, you can't see it, and you never will.
So suck on that.
Kathy.
Yabba dabba doo.
Silver Linings Playback is a production of HoboTrashcan.com. If you enjoyed the show, please rate or review it on Apple Podcasts. Hear more great shows on the Peak Sloth Podcast Network.
Kathy.